Okay, hi, my name is Sevi, and I'm going to be presenting on this week's lesson on blues as aesthetic resistance. So, to start off, we had some readings by Angela Davis, and then we also had the readings of some lyrics and songs themselves. So, we read Angela Y. Davis's Blues Legacies in Black Feminism. We read some chapters out of there. And what she really focused on was these women right here, Ma Rainey, Billie Holiday, and Bessie Smith, and their voices that they used to spread messages of feminism, of, anti-sexism, of anti-racism, and just these true stories that were very much left out of history. The Harlem Renaissance's idea of fine art and this uplifting, joyful, perfect music that is just simple and plain, and that it lets people enjoy it and see the blues as this, educated and exquisite type of music. And these women right here, they wanted to show it as that exquisite type of music that can tell a story, that can tell their story and the lives of being African American women during this time and what that truly meant. So Angela Davis is really just focusing on how their stories were raw and they were true and they were left out and they were shunned because of how deep they were and people weren't ready to hear them. Specifically, we look at Billie Holiday's um, Strange Fruit, which is a song that she released about lynching and racism. And it is strong and it is powerful, and a lot of people weren't ready to hear that, but it is what needed to be heard at the time, and that's why she released it, which was different from her other music, which was love songs and very, fluttery and happy. But this was a serious topic that she chose to talk about as a way of, using music as a resistance. We're not going to confide to telling this perfect story. We're going to show our truth. We're going to spread the word, and everyone needs to hear it. And that's what these artists did. And that's what Angela Davis was talking about. The way to resist racism and sexism is to show your story through music, as they did. So then we, read a screenplay and we watched the film about Billie Holiday and Ma Rainey. And in both of these, what you can really see is how the United States was against them. I mean, this is called the United States versus Billie Holiday, but it is true. I mean, the police, in Billie Holiday, we see the police, the white police, kind of used as a metaphor for the way that the white people were against her story. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to hear Strange Fruit. They didn't want to know it. But when she does finally sing it in the film, that is the most powerful scene of the whole film because that was her truth. That was the deepest thing she's ever written. And it was the deepest thing that people have probably ever heard and needed to hear. And same with Ma Rainey. She's talking about gun violence. She's talking about domestic violence against women. She's talking about these serious things, and they're not going to be pushed down, and they're brought up. And that's why both of these films are so beautiful, because you are reading it and seeing it is a different way than just listening to the song, because you can actually see that there's a person behind this story. And that's why it's so powerful, because these are real experiences. These are real people that are being hurt. And this is their way of, bringing that to light. So the main story, the main theme that I got from this week's lesson was, blues for power. Her voice will not be silenced. Women will not be silenced. Black women will not be silenced. And music is a way. Strange Fruit right here. All of Ma Rainey stuff. Bessie Smith. These are voices. These are power. Blues is power. And if the Harlem Renaissance wants to try to, shun that out because it's not perfect and it's not written all fine print, it's raw and it's genuine, and that's what's powerful. Her voice, her truth, her story. And it's resistance. It's not going to be pushed down. And women coming together, artists coming together, music bringing people together to spread this message. That is the power of blues. And that is what needs to be shown. And that brings me into my discussion questions. Why does mainstream music today no longer touch on subjects as deep and important to society? I mean, why is music now a lot more shallow or only focused on love when we still have so many issues in today's society that could be sung about, used to bring people together, used to spread a message? Why don't we do that as much? Or why is it not mainstream, the people who are doing it? And in what forms of today's media do we see women taking a stand for feminism? what art form is most powerful. So if people are not expressing through music anymore, how are they expressing and why is it not shown and how can we show it more? So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you take these points to heart.